What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. I have not seen anybody cover this on YouTube. I mean, maybe it exists, but nobody's talking about it anymore. And that might be a result of people just assuming the worst with Atari, because we got an update from the Atari VCS, and it's the dreaded update that everybody in the know, if you've been following the story, has been expecting for a very long time. The update doesn't come from Atari, though. It comes from the US court system. We've been waiting for the Atari VCS for over 3 years, and by I say we, I'm not talking about myself, because when this first came out, I definitely thought it sounded quite sketchy. First off, coming out on IndieGoGo should have been a red flag for everybody. You do not need a working prototype for that. So basically it's just begging for money and saying, we promise to try to make something for you. We don't guarantee it, we have nothing to show for it, and we don't really have a plan here. This is just the idea we have in place. Do you want to give us money? They got over $3 million on IndieGoGo. That's a lot of money of people putting faith into a company that has been known to scam people in the past multiple times. Atari is not the company we once thought they were. They're made up of two people now. It's a shell of what it used to be. It's a couple of dudes that bought the naming rights from what it used to be and try to whore out the name everywhere they can to make as much money as possible off the brand name Atari. Because it still does have value. I'll give them credit. Yes, people recognize Atari. They recognize the brand name. They grew up with it, and yeah, because of E.T. and a whole bunch of other stuff happening back then, it basically started the downfall of the entire video game industry. But still, Atari does mean something to a lot of people. Regardless of that, last we left off, Rob Wyatt, hired to be the system architect for the Atari VCS, didn't get paid for a whole bunch of months. And he ended up just leaving and just wanting to sue them. Because he's like, I'm not dealing with this. I am not going to keep working for a company with the promise of a paycheck and not getting anything from them. So he left on his own accord and sued them. That was back in April 2019. We didn't hear anything from it until now. And that is, Atari didn't show up in court. Which is not a good thing to do if you're being sued. You should probably go there and defend yourself and stand up for what you believe in and make your excuses you need to. In Atari's case, they didn't feel the need to even show up in court. Which I guess shouldn't surprise too many people, because they haven't shown up in a lot of places. And when they do show up, they just show up with the shell of the Atari VCS. There's nothing even there. Everything is fake about it. They even showed it running at one point at a convention last year, and it was running a version of Windows. It wasn't even like the processing that they promised. It was something that was hiding a computer inside of it. And they were saying, yeah, we're pawning it off, but trust us, it's going to work, it's going to be fine. This is just a prototype of it early. Yeah, it's a prototype of it early, even though it's almost 3 years from when you first announced it, saying that this was going to come out debuting in 3 months after they announced it. That never happened. 3 years ago. Craziness, but people still paid money into it and still hoped for the best. And God bless the people that cared about this thing, because it has been a long time coming and nothing has been shown off yet. The few times it has been shown off, it's been a shell. They've lied about games working on it. Tempest 3000 wasn't even running. That was a lie. They were playing it through the Xbox, and they had someone playing it pretending, and they were acting like that was running on the Atari VCS, and it wasn't. The creator of the game even said he never even gave approval for the game to be running on it. And he didn't manufacture it. He didn't program it for the VCS yet. So he was like, there's no way that game could be running on that system, because I didn't make it for that system. And Atari just was silent. Oh, mistakes. Oh, this, that, the other thing. Excuses out the butt with this company. They never have the truth. Now, regarding Rob Wyatt, he sued them because he didn't get paid for a few months. It was over $250,000, $260,000 somewhat dollars that he is suing them for, and Atari didn't show up in court. And Rob Wyatt's company, Tin Giant, I actually interviewed him. He's a good dude. He's working right now on a product called the Last Game Board, a digital board game that you can play different games on and can manipulate it, you can put them together. It's actually pretty futuristic, a little bit on the pricey side, and there's still a lot of work to be figured out with it between now and when it comes out, but it's something that he has a lot of passion that he's putting into right now. So I talked to him about that, asked him a few questions about Atari, but he didn't want to get too far into it because of this lawsuit that he has going on with him. He couldn't really talk too much about it, but he did let me know that he was very frustrated with how Atari was handling their businesses back when he was working for them. Lots of questions and concerns that came up during the entire time that he was there. So now we fast forward to present day, and Atari is promising that they will have 500 units by mid-June this month, 10 days from the shooting of this video. I'm highly suspect of that actually coming to fruition based off of their track record. It feels like every time they say something, they end up kicking the can down the road saying, oh, we ran into this, that, the other thing that's a problem. Not to mention how they're burning cash like crazy right now. They can't afford to spend any money anywhere. That's why they keep reopening pre-orders. That's why they're not showing up to court. They don't want to deal with financial struggles anywhere because they don't have the money. They've been spending it all on Uber strategists and Mario Kroll. My interactions with them, sketchy as hell. You would think from a marketing company that they'd actually be nice and inviting and want to chat with you about your inquiries, and so you can tell your audience what you think about it and how they're acting. I had the worst experiences ever talking to that guy, and he's getting paid thousands of dollars a month to represent Atari, and he treats people like crap. So it's just a very weird situation where they're spending all this money on a marketing company. It makes me feel like they know each other behind closed doors, like they're doing a deal with each other here, because to pay that kind of money for a marketing company that treats people the way they did, it was just a very weird combination. But regardless of that, that's where Atari's spending all their money, on R&D, supposedly, but they don't have a system architect. And Michael Arts, the marketing guy, the COO of Atari, has no idea how to make anything technological. So the guy that they hired to do it, they didn't pay, and then they just bought a bunch of random parts from China and are trying to figure out how to put it together. That's where we're at right now. They've talked about different parts going into this. They've said they've had to kick that can down the road because the longer they wait, the cheaper the parts get. But that's turned into an excuse as well, because every time AMD comes out with something new, 4, 5, 6 months later it gets cheaper, they can just say, oh, we actually want the next thing. We want that to go into it. And then they'll say, oh, we need to wait longer so it's cheaper. And then just start the cycle over and over again. That's what it feels like Atari is doing, just to keep delaying this, just to keep squeezing money out of every orifice that they can out of the Atari name. And I know that too because I signed up for the mailing list. And what information and updates am I getting from the Atari VCS? Very little. What am I getting? A hell of a lot of cryptocurrency, Hotel Atari, games that are coming out on the Nintendo Switch, casinos overseas, like literally the shadiest of shady stuff, and games coming out on anything but the Atari VCS being emailed to me when I sign up for the newsletter about updates for the Atari VCS. Very limited information, tangible, has actually come out to people who have asked for information. They showed a GPU CPU board that is supposedly going into the Atari VCS shell, but I've had people tell me that that can't possibly fit in the dimensions of what they are showing off to people. So there's just a lot of things that don't add up with this company. Promising to have 500 of these consoles out in mid-June, but they have, what, 12,000 of these that they're supposed to be getting out to the early backers? 3 years have gone by. They still haven't been able to produce a working prototype. Everything they've shown off has been faked or fraud the whole time through. And they might say otherwise and say, oh, we do have a working prototype. They don't. they don't. That's why they're not showing up to any conventions, even though COVID's going on, how convenient for them. They're not showing it off to anybody. They're not giving out any information tangibly. They're not doing videos of it, promoting it. They have nothing to show to people. Right now, this is looking like it's going to shape up to be one of the biggest scams in gaming history. Not the biggest, I know there are other ones that have been far worse than this, but the way Atari is acting right now, it's just super shady. It's scammy, it's scummy, it's gross, it's disgusting. It makes me feel like they started this project on purpose to extort money out of people that didn't know any better. And that is the lowest of the low. Anyways, that's where I'm going to leave this video, but as it stands right now, Atari didn't show up to court for Rob Wyatt. Most likely the judge is going to rule in Rob's favor. They're going to owe a hell of a lot of money to Rob Wyatt that they don't have, and they still haven't produced any machines for anybody. So Atari VCS is not looking like it's got a bright future at this moment. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing. Smash.